finishing on some of the hand exercises, and there seems to be kind of a difference between like some of the things when you start off with piano lessons. When you start off with piano lessons, like you end up with some of the things like the hand and things like that. What you want to end up doing is getting to the point where you arpeggiate anything left and right together and run down chromatic, trill, tremolo, especially with the right hand. I've said this a couple times before, like you want to train for what happens in a real song. So in a real song, if you're getting into classical advanced like Beethoven, Chopin, things like that, they're going to have a lot of right hand trills, a lot of right hand up and down the chords as arpeggios, turning that arpeggio into a trill, turning that arpeggio into a downward chromatic running up chromatic, especially the right. So we can start with that. So the first thing you want to get to is running it up while the left hand is doing something. So what happens a lot in these songs is that the left is holding down like octaves at some point. Let's say it's like E flat. So you run the chord up from the practice it as a minor. And then turn it from C minor into C major, things like that. So that might look like so with these things with the right hand, what you're doing is 2 1 2 4 2 or 1 2 4 1 2, and then there's some that are specific. E flat minor will be just like a white key, Now the thing I gotta stress is what happens a lot with beginners is they tense up when they do these types of things, and you want to just keep your hand like really loose when you do actually when you get to the top of it, you want almost like a whipping motion. You want to like there's barely any tension there at all, Like you always want to stay loose. Just stay loose. And same thing with the top of these. Just keep that down. Now the other thing you want to do, especially with the right, is run these things up. And it sounds cool to do an octave in the left hand and then sustain pedal it. But when you get to the top of these, every once in a while, turn it into something else. Like things like that. And then with the left, I would especially try to get good at whatever chord you're on. Say you're on an F chord. This is what beginners do with these songs, is they'll play something with the right and left together, and then all they'll do is the 1, the 5, and then the 1 again. And then, well, that's really empty sounding. So what you want to do is get the third. You want the middle of that chord on top. This is the most natural sounding way to do a chord. Is the 5 is on bottom, the 1 is in the middle, and the 3 is on top. We learn the chords like this, but what you really want is this 5 on bottom. And then, you can stretch it out however you want. Now I'm just adding the 9. That's a good trick to do with anything. Now when you get to black key chords, this is why people, I see this all the time. It drives me crazy because it sounds so empty. They'll do like an E flat chord. They'll go like E flat, B flat, E flat, B flat, E flat, B flat. A lot of times accompanists and things like that will do this when they're accompanying a singer, and they're just missing out on so much of an opportunity. So what you really want to do is use your middle finger for that second part of it. Like if you're doing an E flat chord, use your middle finger for the B flat. No, you want to use that's how you would want to play a chord like that. Use your middle finger for the B flat. And I'm angling, see, and then I'm turning in to do the rest. A lot of people that teach they'll just show you how to hit the notes on the keyboard or whatever. But what you really want to do is, the human hand is shaped like a circle, isn't it? Like the short pinkies and longer in the middle, and then a short thumb. So if you think of it as like that, then you have to think about your elbow coming out to have your pinky hit a note, and then you can play more perpendicular for the fingers in the middle. It's much, but as you play with your thumb, you want to bring your arms in for your thumbs and out for your pinkies. So when that comes to playing a chord like an A flat or an E flat like that, you want to pivot on your middle, and you never want to just kind of poke at any kind of keys. Like if you're doing stuff like this, you want to sink in. You want to sink into the instrument and draw a tone out of the instrument, not poke at the keys and just kind of, because then it sounds like you're poking at a keyboard. You want a smooth tone. The other thing is with my left hand, when you're doing something like when you're not just reading sheet music right off the page, but when you're, somebody wants you as an accompanist, or you're playing with a group or something, a lot of times you want to add the 9 to add color. So like with an E flat chord, you want to add the F, or with the A flat chord, try to add 6 or 9. 6s and 9s give it that kind of like a floaty kind of sound to it, So with the right hand, like say a good exercise, I would do octaves with the left, just to get used to running chords up and down. And then when you get to you want the top to be like that kind of whipping motion, but still, if you need to, be able to trill at any moment. So like if you're trilling, the music calls for it, stop right in the middle of your, like right there, maybe on a that's something you might want to practice. Or coloring the chord with an arpeggio. That's not in any of the books, right? They'll say play a C, whatever, but they won't say play a C with an A in it, like D minor with a B in it. That's I want to use both hands, but so another thing to mix with arpeggios, some I didn't really talk about much yet. I don't know if I did or not, but I had to do this video in 2 parts. But bringing a chord up, bringing it in, like that section of solfeggiato. Now you can do that with any chord to practice. G minor, G minor would be like that. So I'm just bringing my pinky in to the next, 5 1 5 1 5 1. The same thing with that minor, That's a good exercise. Now, in any exercise, you should be able to stop, just at any moment, just at any moment, chromatic up, chromatic down, tremolo with any finger, So, like, if I'm doing this exercise, turn it into a tremolo. That's something that would be something to practice.